feel like I'm just a fan. I mean, I get to come and act in the show, and I sort of feel like Ginger is some other person that I get to take over sometimes and have a lot of fun with.
You seem so alike.
I mean, we do, you know, some things, right? But yeah, I do, and you know, I don't read very many episodes. I read the episodes that I'm in, and I act with the few people that I act with in my scenes. So other than hearing it at the table read, it's all brand new to me when I watch it on television. So yeah, I feel like I can speak from a fan point of view.
Do most of you actually watch the show when it's on?
Yeah, I don't miss it.
I couldn't watch it for a while after I died. And mostly that's like with me, because I'm not a nice man. It's out of resentment and hatred. But with True Blood it wasn't. Because I just miss them so much. I mean, I honestly, it sounds sickening, but like, I miss them all the time. And I love whenever I catch up with them. But I couldn't watch it for a little while because it was so sad. I was grieving. I couldn't watch it for a bit, and then I picked it up again. And yeah, no, every time the season comes out, back then I go, I'm a fan completely. It's beautiful. I mean, it's probably the only show I've ever done where I've kept watching it forever. Yeah.
If they ever kill me, I'll never speak to you guys again. That's how devastated I'll be.
Next question.
Hi. So this is a show with some unusual scenarios and situations. And I was wondering, those of you who joined the show before it started, or after you had seen some of the craziness, what was the audition process like? And specifically for this month, did they have you scream as part of your audition?
No, I didn't scream. It's so weird. I just was auditioning for a guest star who, you know, I was playing this strung out barmaid in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I then, when we actually shot, you know, and Long Shadow disintegrated in front of me, I screamed because what else would you do? And then it just turned into sort of an ongoing gag. I mean, I think the next season I shot Lafayette, and again, I think I maybe screamed the entire way through that scene, and then it just was.
She's been screaming ever since.
Well, now it's in the scripts, like, and Ginger screams, like it's written in there, like
well, I mean, first let me say this. The directors that I admire the very most, so my two favorite directors are Ilya Kazan and John Cassavetes. Neither of them believed in auditioning. They thought if you could know something about the person and trust that they were a serious actor, you know, it'd be better to kind of see who the person is. And the highest, you know, not the highest, but one of the compliments I could give Alan Ball is he didn't rely on the 4 lines that I had to say at the audition to sort of determine if it would be the part or not. He was very personable and got me to relax, and we talked about growing up in Texas, and thank God. And at the end of it, I left feeling like, well, no problem, at least I got to meet Alan Ball. So I know that I didn't get cast off of 2 scenes with 2 lines each. And afterwards I thought, you know, he did the thing that my heroes and people I admire do. He took a little time to say, you know, what's this person about? And maybe we could build something out of that. And moving into directing now, I use that approach. I don't hold auditions, I don't name auditions, but I was so at home. He made me feel so welcome and at ease, and I was starstruck because I was 18 years old, I was going to win an Academy Award, and now I'm sitting in front of him. Maybe I'm going to get a job from the guy, and he couldn't have made me more relaxed. So it was probably it was the easiest audition I've ever had. Yeah.
Rutina, you were a recast, weren't you? You're the only person. I was.
Damn.
That's a whole kind of different pressure. Yeah, kind of, because you know, I'm coming into a family that's already been sort of formed. But as I'm sure some of you know, Nelson and I went to school together, so I remember when I called him and I was like, yo, it's like, I'm gonna be on trip with you. He Because I was like, I'm gonna get this show.
Which is weird because that's how Grant got the part.
Poor bastard.
Poor Grant and Jimmy.
Oh, poor us. She kissed me for an hour. That's someone done cartwheels on the tour.
No, he's not like, he's actually like, well, first of all, he and Missy are solid, so he's not checking for anybody. Second, he's like the most professional guy ever. So I came into the room, deadly serious, like, ain't nobody else in this room. Right? Deadly serious. And I walked in and there was like a room full of people that I don't really remember much of. But I was like, hi, I'm Janina, it's nice to meet you. You ready to Mac? And he was like, what? And I was like, are you ready to Mac? I wonder if he even remembers this. And oh yeah, very professional. Oh wait, no, whatever you're comfortable with, absolutely. And I was like, oh, it's happening. And I went right into the scene, because I was like, I have no problem with anything that happens on the show. Let's go. I just wanted them to know, because it's at that point, going into season 4, it was the biggest show on the planet. And I wanted it so bad. So I just wanted him to let them know that I was ready to come in as fearless as they needed me to be. That's all you can do.
I can't wait to use that line on Alexander Skarsgård.
Next question.
Hello. My question is, there have been, probably over the past 15 years, all of these super popular shows with fatally flawed, egotistical males at its core. But True Blood is this rare gem where there are strong female badasses in the core. And I would like to know, as for the women, what it's been like to literally play roles both professionally and just in your personal lives or situations that really are kicking stereotypes in the ass.
Dream come true comes to mind. Because I can't tell you how many, I basically joke, I've like cried on every procedural that's on network and cable television, because that's pretty much all that I've been called to do. And although I have cried on True Blood too, it feels less serviceable and more like it's really coming from the circumstances. But for the most part, because one of my questions this year, I don't know if y'all had this question about Holly, but I was like, wouldn't I be with Andy? At the end of, wouldn't I be sort of siding with him? They're like, shh, Holly's her own woman, and it's gonna take, pairing up with a vampire to survive, and Holly's a survivor. So I love that they made those decisions, that she's not just defined by who she's dating or that kind of thing. And I think all of that, again, stems from the great Alan Ball, who's just so doesn't see things in black and white, and sort of, he sees things much more character-based.
That's the thing. I mean, nobody's just one thing. Are you just one thing? Like if someone said, explain yourself in 3 words, you'd be like 3. Everybody is a complicated person. And I actually never noticed that Luna was very complicated. It's only when you're on another show where they've done no work or spent no love thinking about where a person comes from, what they're made of, and there's no material to back up a lifetime.
What show is that?
Don't do that. You guys have seen those kinds of shows. We've all worked on those kinds of shows, but it's only when you're on those that you notice that it's not good. It's when you're working on something great that it's like a well-oiled machine, like you said. They care, and then you don't notice it until it's bad. At least I don't. I'm like, oh wait, you guys don't give a shit, do you? All right.
Wait, what show?
Watch it. All right, watch me. I'm gonna work twice as hard to make this good. That's what you. That's the only. Wow, this is a deep ass panel. We're getting into it today. Oh God, I'm never gonna get hired again.
We lost her. She's gone now.
Rutina, what's it like for you to play Tara, who just seems to have become stronger and stronger, both physically and emotionally.
One thing about these guns, they're not earned. Bitch, she'll work out.
That's not true. She can do like 87 push-ups on this table right now.
She could.
She can take Big Joe. I reckon Rutina can take Big Joe, one arm tied behind the back. Put money on it any day of the week.
Yes.
Thank you. It's been awesome for me because I love women who are strong, who can say what they think, or are afraid to say what they think. Smart. I even love that she's feisty, but I love that she's incredibly, and I always say this about her, she's incredibly vulnerable. She's a wounded girl. And I think that that's very, not fun, but challenging to play all those types of layers. And my favorite, actually, transition with Tara was season 4 when I got to like do the MMA because I love the UFC. So I went into that and was like, I get to do what? I get to like be in the ring? I was like, it is on and popping. And so like, I remember like we were fighting and it was like a minute and 30-second fight. And it was a long fight. And I was like, can I like finish it with an arm bar? Because I love like the arm bar move. I don't even know what is that. The arm bar, like you kind of get the legs over this part and then you get the arm. Right. It's like legs. It's like, you just like submit. But that was sort of anyway, that was like my favorite, kind of thing because I love the UFC. And also I think when I was turned, that was sort of empowering for me to sort of just be like, what is in my body now? And how does Tara walk? How does she talk? What's changed about it? So, yeah.
Next question.
Hi, my question is for Jim. You covered the end of your character arc on the show. I wanted to ask you about just the overall relationship with Jessica, if you felt like that was how it should have ended up, or if circumstances it would have been written differently, if you think that Hoyt should have ended up being with Jessica in the end.
Okay. Deborah and I, at the beginning of season 4, took maybe 4 or 5 hours in a park one day and filled out the year plus that was missing between season 3 and season 4. And we came to some conclusions that we were both, in terms of relationships, at a point where we had never had them before. We were both juvenile in a way. And we both took the stance from the moment season 4 started that we knew things were going to disintegrate. And we had always told ourselves that despite the warnings and everything else, we were certain we would be the first couple in all the history of the world to defy the good sense that vampires and humans can't have a relationship. And we built a year of that kind of unwinding. And then the writing, without us talking to the writers, supported everything that we came up with. So I think it was a really brave thing to do because you are dealing with the supernatural and fantasy and things like that. And they did the deterioration of a relationship with as much humanity and honesty and heartache as they could have possibly done. And they didn't owe anybody that. That came out of the integrity of the writers. And so I think that's probably how it would go. I think that's probably how it would go. And I was glad to have, a solid, truthful foundation for a breakup underneath us at all times, and I know she was too. And Ryan was, when he came in as the other element. He was never glib about it or anything, and I'm glad.
Next question.
Hey, Rutina.
Hi.
Hey, okay, so you've been one of my favorite characters from the beginning, okay? I love you to death. But anyway, hey, so the season finale when you got shot, okay, I was on pins and needles all off-season waiting, please let her become a vampire. When did you know you were going to become a vampire? Because that made my day when I knew you were still going to be around.
In the middle of filming season 4, Alan Ball pulled me to the side on set takes. And he goes, hey, we're really excited and we hope you will be too. And I was like, okay. And he was like, Tara's gonna be turned. And I was like, okay. And then the first thing out of my mouth was, does that mean I'm gonna die? He was like, no, you're not gonna die. I was like, yeah, but when you become a vampire, you only get like one more death. And like, that's it. So, I mean, what's going on here? He was like, no, we're going to take her in a new direction. I was like, oh, okay. And then I had to keep it secret. Yeah, because I forever from like everybody. And it was really, really, really hard. But I was also nervous because doing a hiatus, right? Writers can also change their minds. And so I was kind of nervous because I was like, I could really be dead. You know, that could be it, you know. So, but I was not. I'm glad I was okay.
At that table read, I was sitting across from Sam, and I hadn't read that. I don't know why I hadn't read that episode, and it said that you were shot, and I literally was like, I was trying to like mentally get his attention, like please look me in the eyeballs right now, and he just went like this is when you just calm the fuck down because we don't know, and we're not gonna ask her, so don't say like it was just bad. I know. That's what I didn't know. Nobody told me. No one didn't pull me aside.
Next question.
Hi. My name is Sabrina, and I have a question for Rutina. I think you're so beautiful and cute. And my question is about Tara and Suki's relationship. At the end of the season, it seems like their friendship was kind of stagnant, almost not even there. In the next season, will their friendship pick back up, or will it just like be the same?
I'm hoping it will pick back up because I think there's a conversation, especially between Suki and Tara, and also between Tara and Lafayette that needs to be had. They need to reconcile and talk about some things. So I'm hoping that we will get back to the Suki and Tara that you all know and love, you know, because I think she is my best friend, and at the end of the day, she did save my life, so to speak, you know, so I have to kind of, I think Tara's figuring out a way to forgive her for that, because I think Tara's actually starting to like being a vampire. So I hope that next season they'll, you know, have a few scenes where Anna and I can sort of get back together. It'd be nice to see that.
Well, Brian Buckner's been pretty open about the fact that next season he wants to make it much more about a small town with characters interacting with each other. What do y'all think about that?
I think that's a good thing. Because I think seasons 3 and 4, I think we got really wide, which was great. But it's nice to just get back to the people that we started with in this little town, you know, trying to get by day, survival. And I think it's going to be nice. And with how we ended with the finale, I think humans are going to need vampires and vampires are going to need humans. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Great.
Lauren, you were watching the show before you were on it. What do you think about it getting back to that kind of season 1 feel?
It's, for me, I couldn't be more excited because that was the draw of the show. And I think that's what Alan does so well, is sort of just seeing really the human dynamics that come when just a group of people have to deal with each other and their differences. And so I'm super excited.
I think we've got time for one more quick question.
Okay. Well, my question is, one, have you guys read the books, and do you think that the storyline went in a different direction, was good or bad? And two, do you guys know why the season was short?
Say again, what? What was the last part?
Why the season was short?
Oh. I don't know why this season was short. Cooter?
Sorry, I was training with rabbits. What?
There are 2 reasons.
Yes.
What are they?
Maybe 1 and maybe 2.
Oh yeah, maybe 1
Oh,
and
you
maybe
mean,
2.
oh, this year, yeah.
But I also think our episodes, since each episode is like a mini movie, it's getting longer and longer to shoot things. And so I think just time-wise and probably budget reasons and all that stuff, they were like, let's compact it down a little bit so we season and really make these episodes great instead of stretching ourselves
Yeah.
to 12. Because it was getting like a stretch to get to 12.
Yeah.
By episode 11, we were all like,
Yeah, I mean, really, because an average episode's like 12 days to shoot, but God, by the finales, it's like 19. I mean, it just stretches on and on. So, yeah, it really does go over.
True Blood has a very unique culture to it, too, by the way, as a television show, in its shooting. And, you know, if you're in and out of it, like several of us have been, the first thing that's really extraordinary is how bloody long it takes to shoot an episode. They go on forever, it's like a year. And then even when you have shot it, sometimes everybody turns around and goes, well, no, actually, we'll do that again. We can do that better. And that's the amazing part of the show, is the care that's taken and the amount of time, literally, physically, because in television or film, time is money. Literally money. And one of the wonderful things about HBO and having a producer like Alan Ball is that nobody cares as much about the bottom line as they do about the quality. And True Blood is probably, in my opinion, the best example in television of that commitment to excellence. That everything else gets sacrificed at the altar of excellence. And this cast that you're looking at, these people here, they all willingly stick themselves on the altar of that because they do the hours in order to make sure that what they do every single time is as good as it can humanly be.
yeah.
They're phenomenal, basically.
It seems like it's just a vampire show. For anybody who's never seen it, right? What do they say to you? Oh yeah, that vampire show, right? It's one of the smartest shows on television. It is social commentary. It's hilarious. It's brilliant. And just because it's got vampires, like people know shit they don't know. Watch it and you will find out. HBO cares. Alan is a genius. There's a reason why it's been such a hit. And it's like the vampires almost have nothing to do with that.
We are out of time, but